to be talking about the pros and cons of using reptile carpet. So I'm planning on kind of doing a series on different substrates for leopard geckos. And this is the first part in that series. And I'm going to be talking about reptile carpet. So before we get into this video, sorry I haven't been able to post quite so much lately. I haven't been feeling too well for the past week. And now I'm feeling better, but sorry for not posting as much as normal. So there are lots of different substrates that you can use for leopard geckos, and some have different things that are good about them and different things that are bad about them. And in this series, I'm not trying to tell you which you should use and which you shouldn't. I'm just going to be weighing the pros and cons and telling what I think, and trying to help you decide what you want to use. So reptile carpet is probably one of the most popular options for substrate for leopard geckos, if not the most popular. And there are a lot of pros to it, but there are also cons. And I think it's important that you kind of know these things before you just choose something to use for a substrate, because substrates actually can really matter with leopard geckos. And it's important that you know the pros and cons and you're ready for what you're gonna do. So I'm gonna start with the pros. So the first one is reptile carpet is poses as a very low risk of impaction. So there's basically almost no risk of impaction with reptile carpet, and that's what makes a lot of people want to use it, because there's hardly any risk of impaction with reptile carpet. It's a solid substrate, and there's hardly any way that your leopard gecko could get impaction on it. So yeah, that's why a lot of people like to use it for their leopard geckos. So that's one good thing about it, because impaction actually can happen sometimes, and a lot of people want to be extra safe. So I'm talking here about the normal reptile carpet, the kind that's kind of soft and your average reptile carpet. I know there is a kind that's basically kind of like a rocky reptile carpet, and I've actually used that before for my leopard geckos. Well, I didn't really know that much about them. And from my experience, the rocks kind of chip off sometimes, and that doesn't seem too safe to me, because when your leopard gecko is eating, they could accidentally swallow one of those tiny pieces of rock, and that actually could cause impaction. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that kind of carpet, and that's not what I'm going to be talking about today. So that can pose as a risk of impaction, but I'm not talking about that in this video. So next one is reptile carpet is really easy to find. So some substrates for leopard geckos aren't super easy to find, because reptiles aren't necessarily the most popular pet. But reptile carpet, you can usually find it in most reptile sections in pet stores and online really easily, and it's just really easy to find, and it's not something that you'll have to look very hard to find. So the next pro is that reptile carpet is washable. So this is actually a really good thing for a lot of reptile owners out there, because some substrates can't be washed and you have to replace it every time you clean the cage. Paper towel and loose substrate like soil and eco earth have to be like totally replaced when you deep clean your leopard gecko's enclosure, but you'll just have to buy more every time. But with reptile carpet, you don't have to buy more. You should have two. So like while one's being washed, you can use the other one. But reptile carpet doesn't need, like, you don't need to replace it. You can just wash it out. So it can be used like a bunch of times. And it can basically be used almost forever. It basically will just hold up forever, and you can just keep washing it. So the last pro is that reptile carpet is generally cheap. Reptile carpet isn't as expensive as a lot of substrates out there, because it's kind of really simple, and it's made of like recycled fibers, and it's just pretty cheap to buy and won't cost you very much money at all. And yeah, some substrates can get kind of expensive, but reptile carpet is generally pretty cheap. So now we're moving on to the cons. So the first one is that your leopard gecko's claws can actually get stuck on the like little fibers poking out of the reptile carpet, because sometimes they can like the little fibers can be kind of fuzzy, and your reptile's claws can get stuck in it and can like actually break their claws off. And yeah, that's just not a very pleasant experience for you or for them. And yeah, that actually can happen on reptile carpet because the fibers are kind of loose, and their claws can get stuck on it pretty easily. So the next one is reptile carpet possibly can release toxic fumes. So I don't necessarily have any real proof for this, but people have said that it sometimes can be dangerous because it's not made out of the most natural fibers. And sometimes, like with some reptile carpets, they can release toxic fumes, and I'm not sure this actually really happens, but I have heard this some places. And yeah, this isn't something you should worry about too much, because there haven't been, as far as I know, there haven't been too many people like that have had this happen. But there are some people that say reptile carpet can release toxic fumes, and that's definitely something you might want to be aware of. So yeah. Next one is reptile carpet needs to be washed quite frequently. So with some substrates, like loose substrates in particular, like soil and eco-earth, they don't need to be deep cleaned very often at all. Like sometimes only like once every 6 months, which isn't very often. But with reptile carpet, sometimes like a lot of people, like sometimes you'll need to replace it, wash it out and deep clean the cage, like sometimes like every week almost, because especially like with coating your insects with calcium, it can like get the carpet all powdery and dirty looking. So it does need to be washed quite frequently, and that can sometimes be annoying because you have to wash the whole cage out like all the time. So that is something that you might want to think about before you use reptile carpet, because it will need a lot of cleaning. And if your leopard gecko like poops on it, then you'll need to wash that off. And yeah, as far as maintenance goes, there's a little bit more maintenance with reptile carpet than with some other substrates. So next one is reptile carpet isn't super natural. So with some substrates, like soil for example, or things like that that your leopard gecko would actually have in their natural habitat. Reptile carpet does not replicate a leopard gecko's natural habitat, like, at all. There's like, they can't dig in it, and digging is something that you should provide for your leopard gecko, and it's very enriching for them, and reptile carpet doesn't provide that. And yeah, it's just not very, it doesn't replicate their natural habitat very well. And that's one of the main reasons I don't really like it, because it's just not very natural. And it's kind of just very unnatural, like, substrate that isn't very similar to their natural habitat at all. This con isn't quite so important for some people. So the last one is that it doesn't necessarily look that great. This might just be my opinion, but I don't really like how reptile carpet looks. It just doesn't look that nice to me. I kind of like a more natural look to my cages, and reptile carpet just doesn't look very natural, and I just don't really like the look of it. Some people might, I don't know, but in my opinion, it just doesn't look too great in a cage. And yeah, it's just not the best looking substrate. Some people might like it, but I don't like it for how it looks. So yeah, I think that's about all, guys. Hopefully I'll be able to do more parts to this series on substrates. But yeah, I hope this helped you guys, and feel free to leave a comment and just leave your opinion on anything like this in the comment section, and don't forget to leave a like. And if you aren't subscribed already, don't forget to push that button and push the bell to get notified when I post a new video. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye.